Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. It is such a mess right now. I was just doing unboxings and I'm actually filming this after the video because I didn't realize that I hadn't filmed an intro yet. I'm so bad about filming intros. Normally I film intros after like the first clip to kind of get an idea of where I'm heading, and then I can kind of intro the first book that I'm actually reading, but I totally forgot, and that happens a lot. So here we are, we're at the end of the video, but we're actually filming the intro. And the intro to this video is we are reading all of my box books that I got in April of 2025. The title is so long, but I don't know what else to call it. And I still haven't found what else to call it, but we are in deep to this series, actually. It is June. I did not finish this until June. You guys know this is going up in June, but I did start this at the beginning of May. So it's been a solid month since I started this whole video. So it took me quite a while to get through things. Health reasons, Escape the Readathon was going on, etc. There was just a lot of stuff going on that was very distracting. It led to this video taking way longer than it should have, but we finished the video. We're done. I'm very excited that we're done and moving on. But that being said, here are the books that we're going to be reading in this video. And we are going to be reading Fable for the End of the World, This Monster of Mine, The Glittering Edge, and this chunker, The Raven Scholar. So we have quite a good mix of things. It's definitely all fantasy. Well, I think Fable for the End of the World is more of like a dystopian sci-fi type situation. I definitely wouldn't classify it as fantasy. But we have an adult fantasy book that is like strictly fantasy. We have The Glittering Edge, which is like throwback 2000s young adult fantasy. That's more of like a Raven Boy style type of thing where it's not like heavy fantasy. It's like a mix of fantasy in the world. We have This Monster of Mine, which I think is like Roman inspired romantasy. And then like I said, Fable for the End of the World is more dystopian sci-fi. So we are going to start with This Monster of Mine. This is what I'm most interested of the pile. The Raven Scholar is probably close to most interested, but it's massive, so I didn't want to start with it. But yeah, we do end up starting with This Monster of Mine, and like I said, this is Roman inspired romantasy with a mysterious kind of fantasy plot style going on where we are trying to solve murders and attempted murders and really cool things, and the magic system is really, really cool in this. So I do intro the book a little bit better in the first clip, so we're just gonna get right into reading this, and we are going to be starting with This Monster of Mine. So let's back it up all the way back to the beginning of May. I guess we're gonna do our first update for this video, but I don't really have that much to say, but I feel like that's why I want to do an update really fast. I am so very much struggling to get into this. I don't know what it is about this book, but I don't want to read it. Like, I don't want to read it at all. And I think a lot of it is just like there's so much information dumped on you, like immediately. And I'm not sure how much my brain is like processing. So I'm kind of almost treating it like The First Crescent City. I've talked about it so many times on my channel. The First Crescent City is just a book that dumps ridiculous amounts of information on you immediately and kind of expects you to sift through it and understand what's important for now and what's important for later. That you basically kind of just can skim the first like 5 to 10 pages and you'll be fine. Like, you can go back and read them later if you really want to, but I could not tell you what happened probably in that first whole chapter. So it's just one of those situations where we are following our main character. This one still isn't as bad as Crescent City. I've yet to read a book that is as bad at info dumping as Crescent City. So this world kind of has like magical abilities. I'm still not exactly sure how they work because there's different types and there's different levels. And our girl is kind of from a poor family, but she's best friends with this girl who's from like a richer family, and she is able to be sent to this academy. Our main character went with her. Something happened, and that's kind of what sparks the story. So it takes place 4 years after that situation happens, and she is now going back to the academy. And the whole point of this is that the magic that she can do, it can like see if people are telling lies, and you can probe their minds. And it's a rare ability, and the people who are going to this academy and are working under these certain groups of people are dying. And so not many people want to do it anymore, but she's like, yeah, I want to do it because I want to solve my almost murder. That's kind of what it is. And that's pretty much the whole story. And it's just, I don't know. Like, I'm just so struggling to keep up what this story is trying to tell us that I'm just struggling to pick it up because I am only at page 50 and it's been like 3 days. I've read 2 other things instead. My brain wants to work on my romantasy vlog that I'm doing for Escape the Readathon, but I really don't need to be doing that either. Like, I really don't need to be doing that. And then I've just been picking up other random things. So I've been working on my NetGalley stuff that is overdue. So I just finished reading Blood on Her Tongue, loved it, gave it a 4-star. And then after that, I think I read, did I read The Man Made of Smoke? I read before that, and that was 5 stars. I actually bought myself a physical copy from Book of the Month for that because I liked it so much. And then I just finished Eat the Ones You Love. Gave that a 1 star. I did not like that one. Yeah, I really didn't like it. That I'll be talking about in my wrap up. Yeah, what I want to read is like Quicksilver. And actually what I want to read, because of the drama with this book, I want to read Silver Elite. So this is what I want to read because I'm so curious. This and the Devney Perry's Shield of Sparrows, that is also one that I want to read. I think it's up there. Yeah, you can barely see it right there. But I have to work on this video because it is already, what is today? May 12th? It's May 12th. Oh my god. This was supposed to come out like this week. Like Wednesday. I actually really need this to come out like Sunday. And that's not happening. I mean, if the books were smaller, maybe, but I got the Raven Scholar to read for this video, and I refuse to DNF this one because everybody loves it so much. I refuse. I will read that book fully. So I'm just frustrated. I'm so frustrated. I just did not do anything I needed to do pretty much this whole month. I haven't worked on my Fairyloot vlog. I haven't done anything. So these 2 vlogs may be pushed into June just because I've been so busy with Escape the Readathon and just reading other things. My brain hurts. My brain hurts. I can't believe I've just like not done anything. I'm so annoyed with myself. So anyway, I'm gonna end that update here. I'm gonna continue with this monster of mine, hopefully get through a large chunk today. If I get to 50%, I will update you because that's kind of how I'm thinking about doing these, is 50% and then 100% do updates and keep it chill because I really need to read. I really need to read. And I do think there are sprints this morning. I think Vanessa, one of the game masters from Escape the Readathon, is hosting sprints this morning. So I'm probably going to sit and watch those and actually read during the sprints. Isn't that a wild concept? I'm also trying to figure out how to use StreamYard because I signed up for sprints on Thursday and I've never done sprints before. It's been something I've been really wanting to do on my channel, but I just haven't worked up the nerve to do it. So I really need to like figure that out. So my husband and I are probably gonna do that later and see how it works because I am very nervous about it. I'm very nervous about it. So anyway, that is the update and I'll let you know when I get to 50%. It is very early in the morning. I am very tired. My eyes are like swollen. I'm so tired. Because I got up at like 5, like I slept okay, but the dog woke me up at like 5 a.m. He's having issues because we just got him groomed and it's the first time he's been groomed since we moved. I've been doing it myself, which has not been very good. The groomer even asked me, she was like, is there a reason that he was kind of like the length of his fur was really strange all around his body? And I was like, it's because I was doing it. She was like, oh. So anyway, he's just very angry because I think he's just like, this is the least fur he's had for a whole year. So he just like is itching and is annoyed and he's just running around. So he's just very unhappy right now. So he keeps waking me up in the middle of the night. And so I've been up since 5. It's 7 o'clock now, but I've pretty much just read the whole time. And I got through quite a big chunk of this monster of mine. And I like it. I actually really like it. I like all the I like the characters you're supposed to like. There are some pretty good villains. There's a really annoying friend who I think is purposely supposed to be like that. Like, I feel like it's pretty obvious that the friend is really annoying and is kind of almost brainwashed. So I'm curious the direction that that's gonna go. And I'm curious who the killer is. So this is basically like a fantasy mystery. which I love. Like, that's two of my favorite things. And so I love that it's combined because I think it's doing a really good job of that, because at first I was like, I feel like this is pretty obvious. I still think it's kind of obvious who it is. Like, I'm pretty sure I know who it is. If it pivots, I'll be very impressed. If it doesn't, I'll still like it, but I feel like it's pretty obvious who it is. My problem with this book is it is so... I don't know how to explain this reading experience. It is the strangest reading experience I've had in a while. It reminds me a lot of my reading experience of Where Shadows Meet, but this is plotted significantly better. But the reading experience is similar, where I feel like I'm just kind of like plotting along and I'm understanding like 70% of what's going on. Like, I feel like in Where Shadows Meet, I understood like 30% of what was happening. I was trying to piece stuff together. In this one, it's like more like 70%, but it's still the same vibe of like, I'll read a section and I'll be like, why did the person react this way to this situation? And I'll have to go back and try to like do context clues from the rest of the book to be like, does this make sense why they reacted this way? Like, it's not obvious sometimes things that are happening. And I don't know if this is a debut book, but it definitely reads like a debut book. But it reads like a debut book should read. I think I've talked about this in another video, but like, this makes sense to me as a debut. Like, it's generally edited really well. The plot is really, really interesting. We have very interesting characters. The writing, I think I said the writing is really good. It's just like little things that writers learn as they write more, where there's like some plot holes and some things that may make sense to the author but don't make sense to the reader. It's kind of those like little things, but those are like, to me, those are acceptable things in a debut, if that makes sense. To me, I get mad at debuts that are completely like, they're just awfully written and the editor should have done a better job of editing it. But this is really good. It just has some problems. It's one of those books like when you read a Sarah J. Maas book, it's such a very generic like example, because a lot of people have read her books, so I feel like it's gonna make sense to a lot of people. When you read a Sarah J. Maas book, you read like 100 pages and you're like, oh my god, I read 100 pages and it feels like it's only been 5 minutes. Like, I feel like I couldn't put the book down. This is one of those books that you read 20 pages and it's been 2 hours. So it's like enjoyable, but it is incredibly difficult to get through. Like, I've been reading this book, I think, for like a week, and I feel like I've gotten nowhere. Like, I'm 60% into it now, but I feel like I should be so much further. I just feel like there's so much information and it's so dense, and the book doesn't flow. I think that's the biggest thing is like, I read The Crimson Moth in like 24 hours because the book just flowed. It flowed really well. This doesn't flow. Like, it feels disjointed. It feels like it feels like I'm reading. Like, I'm never really taken into the story. I always feel like I'm staring at a page reading. So I definitely think this is a hard one to get through, but I know how good it is. Like, if that makes sense. Like, this is a really hard book to explain. So I'm enjoying this. I get why Fairyloot picked it. It's just a weird one to get through. Again, like I said, I really, really like the characters. I do have an issue a little bit with the romance. It is doing a little bit of the romantic-y thing. I like the male character in this a lot. It's basically kind of like Darkling fan fiction. If the Darkling was like good as of currently. And I kind of love that. Like, it's like really well written Darkling fan fiction. The problem is they'll be having like a really serious conversation, and romanticies do this all the time. They'll be having a really serious conversation and she'll go, oh my god, he's so hot. And I'm just like, we don't need that. Like, we don't need that. Like, you're talking about people being murdered and you're thinking in your brain how hot he is. So I'm just like, yeah, okay. We don't need that. Like, we don't need that. So that's like my biggest thing that is making me not get into the romance, because she keeps thinking that way. And I think I just do better with subtle. And then it's like you can tell the yearning in this, though. I do appreciate the yearning in here. It is so good. It's so good, and it's definitely not insta love. It is insta attraction, which is fine. I do think there just is too many like, oh my god, he's so hot situations. and he was shirtless a lot in the beginning of the book, like a couple of times. So I just, again, I don't think it was necessary. I feel like those shirtless scenes would have been good now. Like her, like, I feel like for most of the book, she should have been like too scared of him or too nervous around him being like a suspect in this crime. And then, like, she starts slowly becoming attracted to him as she realizes his character. And then throw in a shirtless scene in there. And then you're like, oh, yeah, he's really attractive. And I feel like that would have worked really, really well. So I think she just got a little too excited about introducing the male lead, which happens. It's a thing. And like I said, romantasy, that's most of my problems with romantasy is that they do that. And they throw stuff in just like too soon. So anyway, this is a long clip basically to say it's good. It has a lot of flaws, but it is really good. She buried her head in her heads. I've seen a couple of weird misspellings and grammatical things in here that I'm kind of surprised that are in here. Like, it seems like they shouldn't be. We have officially finished this monster of mine, and I'm giving it 4 stars. This is such a weird one. I already talked about it, so I'm not going to go in length about that again, but it continued having flow issues pretty much through the end. I do think the end did a better job of kind of sucking you in. Probably the last 20% was like really, really good, and it tied a lot of stuff together, but it kind of brought up a couple of new issues that I had with it. But overall, I think the romance was really, really good in here. I really liked our MMC. I think he was fantastic. I think I overall liked our main female character, Sarai. I think she was pretty great as well. She had a couple of issues that I will get to. And we had a lot of fun, interesting, supporting cast members. We also kind of had... The villains were a little cartoony, like what you kind of expect. It was very obvious from pretty much the onset who was involved with what was going on. And I don't think that really necessarily took away anything from the book. It just did make the villains a little more cartoony. It kind of leaned into that even more at the end with how certain people reacted to things. I also don't really think this needed a second book. So I have no idea where they're going to go with the second book. They kind of gave a hint as to what it's going to focus on, but I don't really like it. Like, I don't really care for what they introduced at the end of this book to go into the next book. I just really don't think it's necessary. I think this should have been a standalone. I think it was great as a standalone. I think you can actually read it as a standalone. Just take out that tiny little piece from the ending. So some of the things that I had some issue with were, oh my gosh, so there was just one sex scene. This is very low spice to me. The problem is the sex scene was incredibly cringy. So a lot of people talk about how The Love Hypothesis is such a good book, except for the sex scene, because it was incredibly cringy and just some weird things happened in it. And that's how I felt like this was written. It almost felt like an author who wanted to write a really dense, very, all-encompassing fantasy book and was kind of told that they had to have a spicy scene in it because romantasy is all the rage right now. And it didn't feel like the author really wanted to write the sex scene and has never written a sex scene before and possibly hasn't read that many. That, again, that might be a reach. That might be a reach. She may have read a ton. I don't know. I don't really know anything about this author. This is a debut book. But that's kind of how it came off because I ended up having, like, I already don't like sex scenes, but I ended up having to kind of, like, skip a couple pages while it was going on because I was just like, ooh. And I don't even want to read you anything from it. Like, I'd be tempted to, but it is that uncomfortable to read. And so I do think when she writes the second book for this, because this will at least have another book, she will need to get her sex scenes proofread a little bit more because they were really bad. Or I guess this is the one. The one was really bad. So I had a major problem with that. That was just weird. It was weird and kind of gross. And then I couldn't stand the friend. Sarai is such a strong, independent character, but when you throw her friend at her, she becomes this like sniveling, I'll do anything that you want kind of person, and it's so at odds with the rest of her character. And I get it, a lot of people actually are like that, where they can be this like really, really strong character, but one person in their life can kind of reduce them to a puddle of tears. And this is kind of who she is, but it was so beyond frustrating to read, and that character was such an important part of what was going on in the book that you couldn't like avoid dealing with it. So it was just really frustrating. I could have done without that friendship dynamic. I don't even think it really needed to be in here. Like, I don't think it really added anything. I think that character literally didn't need to exist. Like I'm thinking about it, you could have rewritten pretty much everything that this character was in, and it probably would have been better and more interesting without this character, because again, I think it just hurt our main character's overall characterization. I just really didn't like it. Like I said, the ending was a bit predictable, but that's fine. I had an issue with some of the, it wasn't plot holes necessarily. I do think there are a little bit of plot holes because you have a group, anytime you introduce a group of people who can tell if another group of people is lying. So like the whole point is that our main character is part of these magic users that know how to, they use this like armband thing with blood, and they're able to tell if somebody is telling the truth or a lie. And anytime you have that in a book, it's complicated. Like a lot of books will get over that complicated hump by saying you have to be touching them, or you have to be like really focused on them, or something that limits the power. With this, pretty much the person just has to look at them and have the rune activated. I guess that's the limiter, but a lot of times they have the runes activated and you can tell if they're lying or not. Like a lot of scenes probably didn't didn't need to exist in this book because our main character could have just activated the rune before going into a situation and could have been all the wiser of what was going on. So there was a lot of plot holes regarding that. I do think that the author should have made it so that the lying and truth thing had to be by touch, and that would have been much more understandable for a lot of the things that were happening. Otherwise, again, you could just tell anybody was lying. So a lot of plot holes with that. And then also some of the like really important stuff that happened at the end wasn't super explained. Like this is what I was talking about early on, where it was really hard to follow along sometimes with the author's train of thought. And I do think that ended up backfiring a bit at the end, because this seemingly innocuous thing that really wasn't explained was something that was brought up at the end again as something important. And I was sitting there going, I never would have thought that this was important. And I feel like it doesn't make sense for this to be that important because it just wasn't explained that well. So unfortunately, that did lose a bit of the like impact of the end, because it was just like, oh, okay. Like it just felt very strange. And then we also had like a religious aspect in this book, which isn't surprising because it is a Roman inspired fantasy book, which it's definitely light on the Roman inspired. Like a lot of the words, a lot of the phrasing and the trials definitely are more Roman-esque, but I wouldn't say necessarily I felt the setting to be. Like in my head, I was constantly picturing a setting that was similar to just every other fantasy book. Like I didn't feel that aspect of the Roman inspired thing. And I don't know if I was supposed to. I don't know if it was just supposed to be the trials and the way that the law people spoke, because there was a lot of like Latin-esque phrases. But there was a whole aspect of the gods, and the gods were not explained well in this book. And again, it ended up being a very important thing towards the end. But you went most of the book thinking almost that the gods weren't like a real thing in this book. And I feel like the author needed to elaborate a lot more on at the beginning about the gods and why they're important to this book. And who knows, maybe she did, and I just missed it because of how much of a hard time I had getting into this book. But as far as I remember, not that much elaboration was done on the gods, but they were pretty important to the overall story eventually. So yeah, a lot of problems, but overall, very impressed, especially for a debut book. Like this was actually really, really good. Again, this is kind of what I expect out of a debut book. Very good plot, very good writing generally. There's like missteps, some plot holes that you didn't see coming. Again, that comes with writing more books and understanding your plotting process better, because I feel like most authors talk about how their first book is normally their weakest because they change how they write books and how they plot stuff out and how they think about things. And I definitely think like if this is the author's worst book, that's amazing. Like, that's amazing. So this is what I want to see from a debut. I feel like this is good publishing. This was so good, so entertaining, so much fantasy. Like, this is also what I kind of want out of a romantasy. This is very similar to the romantasy aspect of the Jasad Heir. I would say both of these are fantasy first. I think these are fantasy with a good romance in them. Same with the Jasad Air. So if you enjoyed the Jasad Air, I would give this one a shot. Don't expect the writing in this one to be as good as the Jasad Air, not as flowy, because there were issues with the Jasad Air too, but that one flowed a lot easier than this one. This one takes a little bit of work, but I do think it's worth the work that you have to put in. Like I said, 4-star. We're gonna be moving on to Fable for the End of the World. I'm nervous about this one. This is the one I am the most nervous about in this video, which is why I want to read this one first. I wanted to start with something I thought I would really like, which is why I started with this Monster of Mine, and it did turn out to be really good. But Ava Reid and I have a very complicated relationship. I have talked about it before, but I haven't liked a single book that she's released so far. I didn't even try Lady Macbeth. I just wasn't interested in it at all. But I did not like A Study in Drowning. I gave it a 1 star. I thought it was so boring and so poorly done. I did not like is it The Wolf and the Woodsman? There's 2 books that are very similar that sound the same. I think that's it. I think it's The Wolf and the Woodsman. If not, it's The Wolf something or The Woodsman something. And I gave that one a 2. Did I DNF that one? I think I finished that one. I think I gave it a 2 star. There was so much graphic animal violence, like animal cruelty in that one. It was disturbing. And the book was beyond repetitive. The first 50% of that book was amazing. It was so good. I loved it. And then the back half was just a repeat of the first half with tons of animal cruelty. It was wild. It was a wild, wild book. And then I also attempted Juniper and Thorn, and I DNF'd that one. That one just was not for me. And then I did not attempt Lady Macbeth. So this is my final attempt at Ava Reid. This is the final one. If I don't like this, we're done. I cannot get a book box with her books anymore, which is sad because pretty much every single time she comes out with a book, I'm like, oh, that sounds so good. Like, it sounds so good. And I feel like that's the same issue that I have with Stephen Graham Jones. Every single book sounds so good, but I know I won't like it. I do not like the way he writes books. Like, you can't get over if you just don't vibe with the writing, and I literally hate his writing style. So I cannot buy any of his books. I tried so many of them, and I have despised every single one of them. So he is also on that list. So this is the last chance for Ava Reid to stay off that never buy ever again author. You can try from the library, but I don't even think I should do that. Like, I don't even think I should do that. So this one is following 2 main characters. I don't know that much about this one. I do know that the main character, I did start like the first chapter. So this is like a dystopian novel, and the main character that we're reading from is like a taxidermist. And they can taxidermy people, which I was not expecting. So that's different. That is very different. So I don't know exactly how this is gonna go, but it looks like there's some sort of trials potentially. Lamb's Gauntlet is a live streamed assassination spectacle, and the next lamb has been chosen. So yeah, it seems like it could be really, really good. Again, all of her books sound like they're gonna be good, but potentially not. But we're gonna try this one next. And then we're gonna decide between the Glittering, is it the Glittering Edge? I think it's the Glittering Edge. Yeah, the Glittering Edge and the Raven Scholar, which I have the highest hopes for those 2. So we supposedly started with the weakest 2, and we're hopefully moving on to the strongest 2, but we'll see. This could be a 5-star. Who knows? I feel like this is the obligatory update when it's dark in the morning, when I don't get enough sleep. I am 20% into Fable for the End of the World. I would show you the book, but it's over there and it's dark, so I don't think you'd be able to see it anyway. So I have it on my Kindle. You can see I'm on chapter 5. I was lucky enough to get an arc of it before, so I have it on Kindle to read, which is nice. So anyway, like I said, 20% into Fable for the End of the World, and as usual with an Ava Reid book, I'm loving it. Like, I don't know what it is, but Ava Reid I just love her writing. I hate her ends of books. Or like, normally 50% and forward, something happens, and I hate it. So I'm really upset because I am having the best time. This is such a good dystopian book already. Like, oh my gosh, everything I could want from a dystopian, this is already doing, and I love it. It's got the sapphic vibes that I was hoping for, but not exactly. Like, you know it's gonna happen, but they haven't happened yet. It's very separate. Like, it's doing a very, 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 very phenomenal job of setting up both main characters, because we are following the lamb and the hunter basically in this, and I'm obsessed. Like, I'm actually obsessed, and I really hope the lamb is a reference to Twilight. Like, it probably isn't, but I would love if that was a reference to Twilight, because I am getting Hunger Game vibes. So if there's also a reference to Twilight, that's like my middle school self having the best time ever. So I'm choosing to believe it's a Twilight reference. But yeah, it is following our two main characters, Anessa and Melano, I think. And Anessa is going to be going into, I guess I should actually backtrack. So this is definitely a, I would say, eco-disaster world type of situation. It's that type of dystopian where the world has kind of fallen apart. Like, it's not just mankind. It seems to be an environmental not apocalypse, kind of, but basically the waters are rising in the world, and that has led to all sorts of problems. There's lots of poverty, and all the animals are mutating, and you can't eat them. You have to buy from this company. I'm curious if the company's mutating some stuff and doing some stuff there. I'm curious if the company's going to be like a thing. And I don't think there's more books, so I am curious how this is going to be a self-contained single book. So in order to kind of keep people happy, it's definitely using a media aspect of this, because that was something that was kind of not in the Hunger Games and not in a lot of dystopian, is distracting people with social media and like YouTube and live streaming. And I love the fact that we're including that in this book, because I think it's so accurate. Like, if we were to have some big disaster and there's poverty everywhere, I 100% believe that the government would use social media and competitions and stuff like this to distract the public. So what's going on here is you can rack up debt. Like, you're totally allowed to do it. You can rack up to like 500,000 credits. And if you get up to that point, you can like nominate somebody. I don't know if they have to be like you have to be responsible for them. I'm assuming like they have to be under your care. And so you can nominate someone to go into the gauntlet and choose them to be a lamb. And it is marketed by this company. And they send one of their hunters to go kill this person. But there's like a whole backstory to it. And they turn it into a TV show. And it's crazy. And so that's where we get Anessa is our new lamb. And Melano works for the company. But it's like much more complicated, because we don't exactly know how these people become what they are, because they're not entirely human anymore. Like, they've been changed into something like a hunter. Like, their senses have been changed, they have an eye implant, all this type of stuff. So that's where we're at. I don't want to give any other background other than that, because I don't want you to know how certain stuff has been done if you want to read this, because it's really good. It's really, really good. I don't know exactly what page I'm on, but like I said, I'm about 20% into this. The book is very short and it reads incredibly fast. So we are about to start the hunt, and I think it's going to be great. And like I said, Ava Reed, I've yet to like an Ava Reed, and it always starts off this way with me liking it. I think with A Study in Drowning, I think I liked the beginning. Not as much. I think about the first 20% is what I liked. And then I went downhill and I was super bored and I didn't like anything about the ending. And then for The Wolf and the Woodsman, if that's what it's called, I loved the first 50% and hated the back half of the book. So I am very concerned. I'm very, very concerned. But I'm going to have high hopes, high expectations for right now. I really hope this is the first Ava Reed that I'm obsessed with. I am slowly making progress. It is the morning of Tuesday, May 20th, and I really should be reading for my Escape the Readathon vlog, because I'm sure we're going to change teams either like Friday or Sunday or something, and I haven't really read anything except for, oh yeah, if you hear the laundry's running, the dishes are running, everything is running. It is the day for doing things, apparently, and being productive, because I've been putting things off. I gotta get shit done today. I am sorry that you're hearing that, but it's just gonna be ambiance in the background. But I just woke up pretty late in the morning already, but I did not sleep a wink last night. So I have this thing that if I take a nap after 5 o'clock, I won't sleep that night. And my husband and I were watching TV last night when he got home at 4:30, and I fell asleep, and we didn't wake up until 7:30. Because we'd have, again, I don't know where I've talked about this stuff. My dog was having issues over the weekend, and we didn't sleep for like 2 nights straight. So we keep falling asleep now, because our bodies are just trying to catch back up on sleep. And especially with him, because he's going to work in the morning. But last night, neither of us slept. So I'm sure he's going to come home and just like pass out probably. Oh no, he's having a really bad day today. He's having a really long day today, so he probably won't have time. I'm sure he'll just like crash out this weekend and just sleep all weekend, and he'll definitely deserve that, because I got to sleep this morning. But anyway, so it is 10:30 already. I'm behind already on things, but I did read a little bit, and I have been up since 8:30. Like, I just wasn't up. Like, I just got out of bed. My dog was also sleeping too. So anyway, the update is I was gonna go to the bookstore because I tend to go every like Tuesday just to get out of the house, and I'm still tempted to do that just to get out of the house and I get my Starbucks for the week, but I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I actually want to leave the house, because if I leave the house, I feel like I'll be so unproductive when what I really need to do is just hunker down and read. Like, that's all that I need to do. I just need to hunker down and read, because I really have to finish Fable for the End of the World, and I'm at 43% of this book. And I am realizing with this book, the more breaks that I take, the longer it's taking me to read this book, the less interested I am in it. I feel like my dislike for the way that Ava Reid writes her plots is definitely starting to show for this one, because I loved the beginning. I thought the beginning was so much fun, but right now the plot is just like rinse and repeat of everything that's going on already, and it's just a chase right now. It's a chase, and what pisses me off, oh my gosh, Ava Reid really knows how to write a female main character who is utterly useless. Like, this is how I felt, I'm pretty sure, in A Study of Drowning too. It's been so long since I read A Study in Drowning, I can't remember. I blacked most of that out. But I want to say I remember in The Wolf and the Woodsman that our main character was also kind of useless. And I just, like, the decisions that she is making are so stupid and make no sense for the survival situation that they're in. Like, I honestly don't understand why our main character is making any of the decisions that she is making. It's also written in a really jarring way where, so we're switching between the two main characters, and we are actively in the hunt phase of this book, which is pretty much when I stopped really liking it. Like, the hunt's just really boring and everything just seems very convenient. Like, it's really, really dumb. And I feel like it doesn't make sense for how the other ones go. Like, I just feel like it doesn't make sense within the world how this hunt is going, but it has to go this way or else you wouldn't have a story. It's just very, very strange. I don't like how it's written, but it's really jarring how it's written because because we're doing the two main characters, normally it's pretty seamless when you're in a perspective of one character and then you switch to another character. It's pretty seamless. The weird thing is, so like, we just ended the chapter with something happening to our main character. I'm counting the person who is the lamb as like our main character. We just had something happen to her, and it cuts off on that cliffhanger, and then we go to our other character, and it literally ends with like her finding, or them finding each other, and it just feels very disjointed from our main character's point of view, because obviously she like went through some stuff, but we're not privy to that even though we're in her perspective. So I don't know, it's just really weird. I don't like how the dual POV is done. I don't think it's done very well right now. I think it was done well at the beginning, but I don't know, it's so weird. It's like, it just doesn't flow, and that might just be me. But again, this I just have issues with how Ava Reid writes books and plots stuff out. I don't know what it is. So my enjoyment is starting to wane. I am getting incredibly bored, which is something I don't like. Like, if I'm reading, I want to be entertained. I do not like being bored while I'm reading books. Like, that is that's like a mortal sin for me for a book, is being bored. Make me angry, make me hate something you're doing, but always keep me entertained. If I'm not entertained, I am not a happy camper. So I am kind of bored reading this book right now, and it's not even like, I'm at like 140 pages or something. I haven't updated where I am here. I'm at 157 pages, and I feel like I have read 300 pages of this book. So I'm a little grumpy, I am really glad that I liked this monster of mine and gave it a 4-star. So at least if I give this a low rating, I'll feel less of a failure for this book box video. And again, I had to do this. This is my last Ava Reid chance. And I'm starting to feel like it's going to be the last Ava Reid. So I'm still hoping it gets better once our two characters meet. But like, I don't know. There's something just so anticlimactic about the actual hunt. Like, if you're saying your thing is like Hunger Games, you better be as intense and crazy and all over the place and amazing as Hunger Games is. And this is so anticlimactic. The point is not the hunt. Like, you can tell the point is not the hunt at all. And I am really sad about that. So I'm going to continue reading. I ended up getting to 50% into Fable for the End of the World, and I am going to DNF it. I just don't see the purpose of this book. There's so many weird things going on, and I pretty much don't think anything except the beginning was done very well whatsoever. And it's doing the thing at 50%. It just completely loses semblance of the story that I was originally promised or like that originally was being delivered, and it just turns into this just obnoxious mess. Like, I do not get this book. I don't get the reasoning behind things. I don't like our main character. Well, I kind of like Melano, but I don't understand her purpose for most things. I love how the second they meet, it's like insta love pretty much. Like, it really is. It just makes no sense in the world why Melano would choose to make the decisions that she is making. And then same with Inessa. Inessa, the decisions that she is making are driving me crazy. And God, I want to spoil it so bad, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. But basically their actions make absolutely no sense unless they are already obsessed with each other. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And Inessa is driving me crazy because she is in a survive or be killed situation in a lot of this book. And she chooses to basically be killed off in every single situation, but something happens that saves her. And it is driving me insane. She is the most annoying, useless main character that I've ever read, and I do not like reading characters like that. But I stopped at about 184 pages, so I gave it a really good try. But yet again, I feel like Ava Reed, I don't understand her books. Like, I don't understand the plot choices she makes and the character choices she makes. And so this is the last one. This is the last Ava Reed. This, out of all the books that I read, this one, well, Study in Drowning was gothic romance. That's like my vibe. Study in Drowning and this book had the biggest two opportunities. You have a Hunger Games dystopian end of world situation where there are death games. Amazing, amazing premise. A Study in Drowning was a wannabe architect who is obsessed with this writer and is invited to go to this gothic mansion that is underwater, and she gets to potentially solve a mystery with a mysterious romance happening at the same time. And those should both be 5 stars. Both of those premises should be 5-star books. Study in Drowning was a 1-star. I hated it. And then this one, if I finish this, I don't see this being above a 2-star. And I did end up spoiling myself for the ending of this book. And I don't see how there can't be a sequel for this book. Like, there has to be a sequel based on that ending, because it was such a depressing ending. Like, it was so depressing. And I don't know if she wanted it to be realistic based on the dystopian aspect of things, but nothing changed at the end of this book compared to the beginning of this book. Like, I wanted something to change, something to happen, and it doesn't seem like anything happened, and it seemed like everybody lost. And I don't like that. I need some type of growth or some type of just something, and it was not a vibe. It was not a vibe. So I would not be surprised if this had a sequel. If you're looking into reading this ends off on not exactly a cliffhanger, but stuff is very much not resolved and feels very unfinished. So I would not be surprised whatsoever if there was a second book with this, because there's a surprise second book for A Study in Drowning, which I don't really know how that would have a second book, but it has a second book. I don't plan on reading it. I'm so sad because this is such a pretty book. It's so beautiful. I love this edition. It's so great, but I could not give a single care in the world what happens in the rest of this. In other news, I did end up cracking and buying an indie edition of Nocticadia. I have no idea if I'm gonna like it. I still haven't read Anathema, but based on how everyone is talking about it, it sounds like I'm going to love it. And so this is one of her other books, and both of them were picked up by Bloom Publishing, and supposedly they're going to continue. Anathema has 2 more books coming, and supposedly it sounds like they are going to release like indie editions and paperback of those as well as special editions. So it seems like they just picked them up to do special editions, but they'll continue to be indie released. Because I have that somewhere. Yeah, it's up there. But I don't know if Nocticadia is a series, but I wanted this to match my edition of Anathema. So just in case they're going out of print, I wanted to get an indie published version of it, because they're just, there's something about an indie published book. They just feel really, really nice. I don't know what it is. So I love supporting smaller indie authors. I'm trying to do it more since I have a really hard time supporting my local indie bookstore since it's so far away. My closest indie bookstore is like 50 minutes away into the city. So we don't do that very often, unfortunately. So I'm still kind of looking around, seeing if I maybe accidentally missed a bookstore that I just don't know. Still looking, hopefully I just missed something and I have a closer one nearby. Anyway, picked up Nocticadia. So I'm really mad. At least I gave This Monster of Mine 4 stars and I had a really, really good time with that. And I do plan to continue with that one because that's gotta be a series, right? I don't remember if that's gonna be a series or not. I'm trying to remember how that one ends because it's been a while since I read that one. Oh yeah, I feel like it should be a series. I don't know if it's going to be, but I feel like it should be a series. Okay, so I just looked up Fable for the End of the World and it says it's a standalone dystopian romance. I don't know about that. This says The Last of Us meets The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Again, I don't get the Hunger Games vibes from this. I don't pick this up if you're thinking Hunger Games. Don't do it. I could see The Last of Us though. It does have that vibe. Now I'm just looking up reviews for it. It seems like a lot of people don't like this book. So I feel a little bit better because sometimes I'm like, oh, I feel like I missed the point of the Ava Reid book. A lot of people don't like this one. Dang. This person said it was very lackluster. I love standalones, but I think this book could have done with either being a little longer or being a duology. The world wasn't fleshed out enough. That's how I felt. I felt like the decisions the characters were making and the world wasn't like entirely explained and stuff. Like I had a hard time mixing the two, like knowing what we were supposed to happen in this world, and stuff was referenced that you weren't really shown that much, so it was really strange. This says if you don't like it at the start, you probably won't like it moving forward. You have to remember that when reading things like The Hunger Games, the world building is also very subtle. It was not subtle. What are you talking about? The Hunger Games world building is like you feel in that world, you feel it. So I don't agree with that. And this person's not it. It sounds like this just might not be your genre. This is literally my genre and I didn't like this book. Yeah, this person said the same thing. I'm currently reading it and I'm losing interest. That's exactly how I felt. I loved the beginning and it just got more and more boring as the book went on. Everyone hated the ending. That's so upsetting. I'm trying to find the Owlcrate. Let's see if interview with the author. This will tell us if she's planning a sequel as of currently. Because I would be really tempted to finish it if there was a sequel. If there's not, I have zero interest. What new projects can we look forward to seeing from you next? Next up is A Theory of Dreaming, sequel to Study in Drowning, out in August. As of the time I'm writing this, my next adult book hasn't been officially announced yet, but it's coming in 2026. Most ambitious, unconventional thing I've ever written. One for the Juniper and Thorn girlies. Honestly, yeah, I DNF that. So, doesn't look like she has plans of a sequel currently. That doesn't mean she won't, but I'm gonna take that as unlikely. If there is, whatever, but yeah, no, I'm gonna stick to my DNF. So let's see, I have 2 books left to read. So I think, man, we've got The Raven Scholar or The Glittering Edge. Okay, I am about 50% into The Glittering Edge. I almost said The Glittering Hour. And obviously I just took a shower and I'm about to go have dinner, but I figured I would update you because I just hit 50%. This is definitely going to be a shorter talking vlog than I feel like I normally would do because I have been dealing with some medical issues. I'm not going to get into them, but it's been a rough week and a half. Let's just say that. It's been a very, very rough week and a half. So I haven't been doing like a ton of reading, but I will say this book has come along at the perfect time because it is nothing serious. It is nothing too intense. It is super easy to read. So it is definitely something I am enjoying while I'm not exactly feeling myself. So this is working very well for me. I'm hoping The Raven Scholar is an easy read as well because I really need to get this done and I really just don't want to put this off anymore. But because of how I'm feeling, reading is definitely something that is quite difficult. Audiobooks are definitely the way that I've been going lately. But I don't want to do that with The Raven Scholar because I generally don't enjoy fantasies as much if I listen to them. So anyway, that aside, Glittering Edge. This is so good. This is so much fun. I will say, like, some people were like, oh, it's not a love triangle. I definitely have the love triangle vibes though. Like, I'm definitely feeling the vibes. So I am curious what direction that is going to go. I definitely have a 100% favorite. I'm not even remotely interested in her being with the other person. Like, yeah, if you guys know me at all, yeah, you would know which person I prefer. It's funny because if my best friend read this, she would probably like the other character and we would probably fight about it because we always pick the opposite characters in books to like. But anyway, we're following 3 different main characters with 3 different points of view, but it actually works really well in the context of the story because each point of view is very different, but they build upon each other incredibly well. Like, these points of view are written so well, they mesh together, it's very seamless. So it doesn't bother me whatsoever. Like, they could even throw a 4th point of view, even a 5th, and I probably still would be fine because these are written so well. Penny is our main character, I would classify her as, and I don't even know how to explain this book without giving any type of spoilers away. She basically gets enmeshed in this family fight between Corey's family and Alonzo's family, and they've been fighting for many years. And Corey's family is supposedly cursed, and Alonzo's family is supposedly witches who cursed Corey's family. And it's all very complicated and there's a lot of backstory going on, and I really appreciate it. It's really, really cool. We even have like a family chart or a family tree in here, which I really like. Penny kind of gets involved in this because something happens and she has to work with the two of them to try to break the curse. And that's all I can really tell you about this story, but it's going really well. I'm actually really, really enjoying it. It's not like 5-star material or anything. I feel like if I had read this back when I was like 16, 17, this would be like 5-star, would have read this in a single night, obsessed with this. But I am having a good time with it. There's also a lot of yearning from one of the characters, which I love. I think it's so much fun. This is just like the epitome of what I love in young adult fiction that I don't get a lot in adult fiction. It's just innocent crushes and it's just adorable. Like, that's what I miss from adult books a lot of times. If I like an adult book, it's because it has this innocent feeling to it. Like, First Time Caller had that feeling to it, like when they were just crushing on each other. I loved that. And obviously it moves more adult, but I just love that aspect of it. And young adult books, like, they always have that. I feel like it's just adorable. So I'm enjoying it very much, and that's pretty much all that I have to say about it. There's really nothing else going on. I like the mystery aspect of this because we're trying to decide if the curse really was done by Alonzo's family or potentially it was done by somebody else. So I think that is also really fun. So I'm just enjoying being along for the ride with these characters because I have no idea what's gonna happen, and I don't know what's gonna happen with the romance. I don't know what's gonna happen with the mystery, and I'm just having a great time. And I love this setting. The setting feels very small town-esque, like kind of all the really good 2000s books that I enjoyed. So yeah, having a great time. I'm gonna continue reading it. I don't see it taking me too much longer to finish this one up. I finally finished The Glittering Edge, and I am gonna give it a 3.5. I think it could have been a 4 if I had not had the reading experience that I did while reading this book. I am still very unwell, unfortunately. I literally haven't filmed in, I think, a week. Maybe less, because I think I filmed the unboxing video, but I can't film anything. Like, I can't talk very much. Like, I don't even talk that much to my husband right now. Like, it's very strange. Really, the most that I talk is on the phone to like my mom and my dad and to Lucas, my husband. It's just a struggle. Like, I am out here struggling, and it really sucks because I started my booktube, I think, a month after my initial back pain started. So it's always been kind of my escape from pain. And unfortunately, with this new situation happening, it has kind of taken booktube away from me a little bit because speaking is incredibly painful. Anyway, you can see I started crying. I was gonna start talking about it, but I don't feel comfortable talking about it because I just don't want anybody to comment about it because I feel if I read constant comments about chronic illness, it will make me feel worse. So I want to stick to talking about the book. And I know a lot of you guys do not come here to watch sad content. You come here to watch happy content because a lot of you are also dealing with your own problems. So I don't want to come on here and compound that. But yeah, I'm having a really hard time, and my husband is probably the only thing that is keeping me sane right now, and talking to my mom and my dad on the phone. Otherwise, I'm just kind of waiting for doctor's appointments and hoping for the best with that. So anyway, like I said, I finished The Glittering Edge. I'm going to give it a 3.5. I think it could have been higher if I had read this in a shorter period of time. Not super fast reading like I sometimes am known to be doing, but I feel like if I read this within like 4 or 5 days, this possibly could have been a 4. Definitely not a 5, could have been a 4. There definitely is a love triangle more than I was expecting based on some people's comments. There definitely is more to it than I was originally suspecting, and I kind of think it's going to continue into the next book. I am still not ruling out polyamory, but if there is polyamory in this, see, I don't think Alonzo and Corey will ever be interested in each other, so this is going to be more of like a why choose situation and not true polyamory. I think, as according to my understanding of polyamory, I could be wrong with that definition, but this still could be a why choose situation. I could 100% see that happening. But if it follows general rules for young adult books, if this is a duology, the next book will kind of start with the romance in this kind of distancing itself and potentially our main character getting interested more in the other character, and then she ends up back with the original character. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, but at the same time I'm like, I don't even need that. Like, I don't even need that. So this is a really interesting concept. I do think that some parts were done better than others. I'm like literally having a hard time remembering what happened at the beginning of this book because it's been 2 weeks since I started reading this book. But I like the mystery aspect. I think it was done pretty well. I do think generally everything in this book was pretty solvable. I don't think anything was like actively trying to majorly trick you, and if they were, didn't work very well. And I think that's where some of my enjoyment came down, is just everything was so predictable, and then even like the conclusion of this book was like, oh yeah, that was very obvious that that happened. So it was just a very predictable, very vibey young adult book. So if you just want like the vibes, if you want the vibes, especially of like the Hunger Games years and the Twilight years and those types of things, this is probably a really good book to pick up. I don't think it does anything great. I don't think it does anything like overly special. It was a good time, and I would recommend it for young adult fans. If you are not a fan of young adult, I would not read this one. This is very, very young adult. Not like young, like it reads 16, 17 young adult. It's not like borderline middle grade, but it is heavily like these are 17-year-olds. Like it very much feels like 17 young 18-year-olds dealing with drama in the ways that they are. My biggest gripe with this is actually the friendship between our main character and Naomi. I think Naomi is a terrible friend. Like, I feel like a lot of people are not going to agree, but Naomi is one of those friends that if you don't tell her every single secret and every single thing that you are going through, she calls you a bad friend and makes your life hell. Like, literally, she is that friend, and I hate those people, especially when she equates her losing her virginity and her dealing with her girlfriend equal to your mom in, like, a coma. I find that wild. Like, that was actually wild that this author thinks that that was seemingly okay. Because I, like, there should have been a major thing where Naomi is like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I did not take into consideration all the stuff that you were going through. Because my love life is obviously not as important as like direct family, almost death kind of situations happening. No. They apologized to each other, and our main character even was like, I'm sorry for being so terrible. And she's like, yeah, we were both terrible, but maybe you a little bit more. And I'm just like, your love life is literally not important compared to all this. It's literally not. I hate the type of people who cannot put their own problems aside for someone else's that is obviously bigger. Like, obviously so much more important and so much bigger than yours. Like, obviously. So yeah. I struggled with that quite a bit, and that actually removed a lot of my enjoyment from the book, was that friendship, because I don't think our main character, Naomi doesn't deserve our main character. Let's just say that, okay? So anyway, that's the review for this. I'm going to tentatively start the Raven Scholar. I gave myself a whole week to read it in these conditions. I don't know if that's going to be enough time. Like, the next thing you see may be a May wrap up. That probably is what it's gonna be, and I'm so upset about it. Like, it has so ruined my June. Like, I had so many things planned for the rest of May for Escape the Readathon, but I've pretty much stopped being a part of Escape the Readathon at this point. I was having so much time doing lives, but I literally can't. I literally can't. So I'll jump in every once in a while to like see what everyone's doing, but I can't participate, and it really sucks. And so I had the rest of May planned out. I had so many things for you guys. I had so many things planned for June. I had so many things, and it's kind of just all, the table has been wiped clean, and I am trying my best to get through these things. So we're gonna try to read the Raven Scholar and wrap up this reading my April books. Oh my gosh, it is almost June and I'm still working on this, and that is really frustrating. A little bit of a different angle, and also shows kind of a little bit of the mess in my house, but I feel like this is what chronic illness looks like. And this slight depression, it's a lot of depression actually. Good news, I feel like, I don't want to talk about this on camera, but I feel like it's important to talk about because there are plenty of people who watch my channel who are also dealing with things like this. And so I just want to say, if you are feeling rough, get a therapist. I finally, it took me forever. It took me so long because I was fighting it. I don't know why I was fighting it so hard, but I was fighting it so hard making an appointment with a therapist. But I found somebody finally. It's kind of hard. Like, it's actually kind of hard to find somebody. And then when you have to go through all of like the portals to like make an appointment, or if you have to like call them, it causes even more anxiety. And it's so hard to actually make an appointment because it's easier just to give up halfway through making an appointment. And I did that multiple times, but I finally did it. My husband bugged me enough that he's like, you have to go talk to somebody. Like, you have to go talk to somebody to learn how to deal with grief. There we go, that's better. It was kind of hurting my head having it pinned back. And even just making the appointment has made me feel a little bit better. So that's kind of the little update right now. I am still in a large amount of pain. Some of the flare-up has chilled out a little bit, so I am functioning a little bit more. I am reading, which is really great. I'm still not really physically reading, like a little bit. I am a little bit, but I'm also eating more. I had my first like full meal yesterday, I would say, that I used to eat. So that was really exciting, but it doesn't mean the pain is gone. It just means I am having periods of better acceptance about the pain. So I'm hoping, because that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Like, obviously the hope is that the pain goes away. Like, that is everybody's hope. But what you really need to get to is like the acceptance of it. And that is probably where the therapist is going to come into play. But anyway, you can kind of see some of my house. We have vaulted ceilings. You can see the giant window right there. I do like to spend time right there with the window open, especially when it's raining. It's very relaxing. We're in the middle of laundry. Lots and lots of laundry. I think it's mostly blankets and towels, I think is what we were working on. So it's a little bit of the depression because my husband works a full-time job. My husband works a full-time job, like a hard labor full-time job, like not sitting at a desk in some office, which is also very exhausting, especially emotionally. Like, I would say him emotionally, he is better, but his body is definitely like takes more of a brunt from work because he works a hard labor job. He works in a rock quarry. And so I hate the fact that he has to come home and do stuff at home. And he does. Like, he's amazing. Like, he comes home, does the dishes, and will fold laundry and stuff like that. And I hate that he does that. So I make sure that if he is trying to do that, he's not doing too much. Like, I want him to come home and relax and not feel like his entire life is work because I can't. It's like a happy medium. So that's why it's a bit of a wreck right now with all of the folding. That's also his desk setup for he plays video games, so he's kind of decorated this little corner. It's where you would put like a little eat-in kitchenette thing. I love how this update is like nothing to do with reading. It's like a little kitchenette area, but we don't really use that. Like, we have a really nice living room with a huge table in it that we kind of just do that instead. That's just how we are. We don't have kids. If we had kids, then it would probably be different. We'd probably have a little kitchenette thing, but we don't have kids, so we don't really have to worry about it. And we have a dining room over there. So I don't see the need to have like a little dinette as well. So we ended up putting his gaming stuff there, and it's really nice because no matter where I am in the house, like either I'm in the bedroom, because that's our bedroom right in there, like again, more laundry, that's our bedroom right in there, I can be in there and I can still hear him, which is soothing. And then if I'm in the living room, I can hear him. So that's kind of like how we have our setup done. It's just because we're obsessed with each other. We didn't like how our Charlotte house was set up. We had a whole room dedicated to like his gaming area, but because of my illness stuff, I was in our bed a lot with the heating pad and in pain. So it just didn't work for us because we were separated a lot. So this has worked a lot better, which is really, really nice. So anyway, that's kind of the little setup of our house. You can't see a ton of it. And then nope, it's really hard to do this. That is the kitchen over here. You can't see it. I'm not going to show it. Anyway, it's funny. I'm just giving a little bit more of a glimpse of our living situation and kind of explaining what's going on. So that is all of the non-book things. I am in the middle of cooking pot roast. We're a day late. God said no to pot roast yesterday. Like, you know how everything like works against you sometimes? And you're just like, yeah. We always do pot roast or beef stew Sundays, and we had none of the ingredients. Like, I totally forgot to get any of the ingredients. And yeah, so we're having it today. So anyway, I'm currently in the middle of cooking beef stew, which is one of our favorite meals. Absolutely love it. It's definitely a comfort meal. We did go to the farmer's market on Saturday. I dragged my corpse to the farmer's market. It was a rough day, rough morning. The rest of the day was actually pretty good. Morning was rough. I was really feeling the fatigue, and I definitely was having an issue with sleeping. So I am a little less fatigued, which is really nice. I'm kind of up moving around, because on my bad days, I pretty much don't leave the bed except to like go shower, and that's literally it. But I'm a little better yesterday and today, so I'm up moving around doing stuff. I'm probably going to try to do as many chores as possible today and clean up the house. Oh, we're also dealing with something that I didn't know existed, and I looked it up because I was like, oh my god, are we like disgusting people? Carpet beetles apparently are a thing. We've never had carpet. Our last house in Charlotte, I think I saw like 1 or 2 ever living there, and we didn't have carpet in that house, so it was really easy just to like kill them and they're gone. Apparently there's things called carpet beetles, and it is carpet beetle season, and I don't know, like, and I remember seeing them when we first moved in, but I didn't really think anything of it, and I guess like they'll go dormant, but you just have to like, I have to make sure everything is off of the carpet. There's nothing on the carpet, and you have to vacuum like every single day to try and get rid of them. I also probably need to get some spray, but they're coming, you can tell where they're coming in. They're coming in from that back door. Okay, they're coming in that back door, because I'm guessing it's because like we don't have good, it needs to be whatever it's called, weather stripped, whatever it's called. And they're coming in through that door, and then they're coming in, and there's carpet at the bottom of that door, so that's where they're kind of like living. And then they're also coming in through the garage, which has no carpet, but they're definitely coming in through the garage. I don't know, and I guess they're dispersing once they come in through the garage. So we're trying to figure out how to get rid of those. But at first I was like, oh my god, what is this? But like, what is this infestation that we're having? And apparently it's just carpet beetles, and they're super, super common. Not a fun thing. Not fun to deal with. It's actually really gross. And they infested one of my shoes, which was really fun. I'm just like telling you all the tea right now that you guys probably don't need to know. But there's a lot of stuff that has happened because I'm not updating and I'm not making a ton of videos right now. So there's like so much stuff I haven't told you guys. So anyway, recap. Dealing with depression, starting therapy soon. Hopefully we'll be getting some answers about what's going on in July. So I'm still waiting for that. Dealing with carpet beetles, always fun. And we are still going to the farmer's market and having a good time. And everybody knows us there now. It's actually really cool. So I would recommend that. If you guys have a farmer's market you've ever wanted to go to one, totally go to your farmer's market. It is so much fun. So anyway, finally on to the book update, the thing that you guys are actually here for. That was 9 minutes of talking about absolute nonsense. The Raven Scholar. I'm loving it. I didn't think I was at first. I had a really, really hard time getting into this. So I'm about 100 pages in. Let's see. Yeah. Oh my god, this book is so long. I see why it's long though, because it's been 100 pages. And I feel like I've read like 300 because there's so much information. There's so much going on. Like, we haven't even gotten into anything. We've just kind of learned the basic story about the world, and the world is very different and expansive, so you need that. But I am enjoying it. I like the writing. I am primarily listening to it because I do struggle with physically reading right now, just because my mind wanders, and it's just hard. It's really hard to physically read right now. So it's easier just to listen and kind of try and switch that part of my brain off and distract it with like app games, and that way I can, or Cozy Grove. I've been playing a lot of Cozy Grove, and I'm probably going to get another Switch game. I think playing the Switch while reading is the way to go. I think that's going to help a lot. So I'm able to like turn off a little bit of that worrying side of my brain and just focus on this. And you know what? I'm having a great time. I'm having a great time. I kind of know what it's about, but there's a lot happening and like stuff that I wasn't expecting. So we're following our main character, Nima, and she is a Raven Scholar. And so the premise about this whole world is that there are 8 like affiliations. And so it's like Raven, Ox, Tiger, Bear, like that kind of thing. I think there's like a list of them, but I don't know if I really need to tell you the list. Monkey, I think, is also one. I remember that one. Yes, here we go. So we have Fox, Raven, Tiger, Ox, Bear, Monkey, Hound, Dragon. And the dragons are a little bit different. They don't kind of work the same as the other ones. But right now we have a Bear Emperor, Bearson, I think. And everyone kind of picks this track, and then you're kind of like put into like a school, and then you can be picked to be the representative, to be like the next emperor or empress or whatever. So you're only allowed, they have like a bunch of rules about everything. So like you're only allowed to rule for like 24 years, and we're coming to the end of the 24-year period, and a new leader needs to be picked, but you're not allowed to actually pick somebody. So the emperor cannot pick a successor, and their like relatives also cannot be in the running to be a successor. And I like that. I feel like that is very politically smart and allows for a lot of getting rid of a lot of the issues that you have with like corruption and stuff. And so instead, these representatives for each group are put forward, and then there's this big competition. I think it's seven competitions in 7 days, I think is what Nima's character said. And so she is not a representative. One of the people that she does not like is actually a representative for the Ravens, and that's causing some drama. And then there's also, Nima also has this like lifelong romance, which I really like. They're on the outs currently. They hadn't talked in like 8 years, because the first part of this book happened 8 years ago, and this whole exile situation happened, and then you fast forward 8 years, and now you're Nima's perspective and what is happening currently. And I don't know how the exile is 100% going to like wrap up into the story, but there's like a brother situation relating to the exile, and it's just, everything is so complicated, but it's really, really good. And I'm having a really, really good time. And I'm trying to think if I missed anything else to explain what this book is. So basically it's a competition between these groups of people to become the next emperor. But apparently there's going to be a murder. I still haven't even gotten to the murder yet. Like they are at the ball right now, or whatever, celebration right now, where all of the competitors are showing up for the first time. And I assume the murder's like literally about to happen. It's not a surprise, it's literally in the thing. It's what I guess sets a bunch of stuff off. So I am curious who's gonna be murdered. And yeah, there's so much political intrigue. If you love politics, this is the book for you. There is so much politics in this. The world is very, very interesting. It's different than anything that I've seen so far. And yeah, it is a bit difficult to get into. It is dense. It is very world dumpy. It is kind of hard to get into. But once you're in it, I'm having a really good time. So that's the update. That's the update. 100 pages in, I'm having a good time. I am planning on filming the second half of the book box video, so that can go out Wednesday. So I'll actually have a Wednesday video, and then hopefully this video will go out Sunday. So that'll be kind of nice. At least a week in June of normal uploading Wednesdays and Sundays. Then it'll probably go back to just Sundays because I don't have anything because I'm not reading. But we'll see. We're also, what is it? For the Lazy Book Club, we are 250 pages into Dungeon Crawler Carl, so we are making advances in that. It's just, again, it's taking a little bit because we're not going anywhere and I'm not in the mood to read a lot, so it's just taking a little bit longer than I thought. That should also be coming out hopefully soon because we are loving that and having a good time with that so far. So that is a little sneak peek if you end up watching this vlog. So anyway, I'm going to continue listening to this. I have a lot to do this morning or this afternoon. I think it's like 1 o'clock. So I need to go finish all of that. And yeah, I will let you know. I'm going to continue listening to this. I feel like I'm going to listen to most of this today because I'm having a really good time. I also binged every single episode of Ginny and Georgia. I don't know if I said that already. I finished it. I loved it. It's one of my favorite seasons so far. Although there is one thing that I don't like about it, but I can't talk about it because it's a spoiler. If you want to talk about Ginny and Georgia, you should message me on Instagram because I love that show. So yeah, I'm obsessed with it. So if you finished it, you should message me on Instagram so we can talk about some things because my best friend is refusing to watch it right now. So I need somebody to talk to about it. That is the update. I'm going to go continue listening to this and continue cooking dinner, which I've just kind of left sitting over there. And I will update you maybe in another 100 to 200 pages. This book is really long. 600, yeah, it's over 600 pages. So maybe in another 200 pages, I'll update you. Or if something crazy happens, if I don't like it or I'm really liking it. So we'll see. I'll update you when we get a little bit further into this one. Guys, I did it. I finished The Raven Scholar. I'm so excited. For some reason, like every time I looked at this book, I'm like, I'm never finishing this book. Like I'm literally never finishing this book because it is massive. 630 pages is definitely over what I normally read in a book. Like I feel like my sweet spot with books is I like horror books that are about 300 pages. I don't love horror books that are any longer than that. Same with romance. Romance like 300 to 350 is normally pretty good. And then fantasy, I would say anywhere from 350 to 450 is what I like for fantasy books. So anything longer than that, I'm gonna get book fatigue. Like, that's just what I'm gonna get. Obviously, novellas are a different situation. I love novellas. But yeah, I finished it, and it hasn't been that long. I feel like it's been a week. Yeah, because I didn't read for like 3 weeks. And once I started feeling a little bit better with my nerve pain, in my face and in my arms and stuff, once I was able to finally sleep, I started listening to the audiobook. So it's only been a couple of days, and I am so excited about that. So before we get into that, I figured I would show you guys kind of a little bit of a haul that I've gotten recently. So first of all, I got this. I'm so excited. So I went to both Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. I didn't film in them because it's been like 3 weeks since I went to a bookstore, because I just haven't been, like, the depression hit so hard that the idea of going to a bookstore made me want to curl up in a ball and cry. Like, it was really bad, guys. I am coming, like, I still have my ups and downs, but it's not constant right now, that feeling of misery, because some of my nerve pain has gone down quite a bit, so I can actually enjoy existing right now. So I feel a little bit more like myself, which is really exciting. I made that book club post when I was feeling better, so I'm really excited. I feel like you guys can tell a little bit. I feel a little bit more like myself. It's not all the way better. I don't know if I'll ever be all the way better again. It's been a really rough year since about March 2024. Since March 2024, my health has gotten worse in general, but I'm gonna take the wins. And right now, I'm feeling like a win. I also went to therapy yesterday for the first time with this new lady, and I actually really, really liked her. She was really nice. And I think I scarred her a little bit because it literally took me 50 minutes to talk about my entire health history, like, because she wanted like a good background, and she asked all the right questions. And because she has her doctorate in psychology, I can't remember if it's psychiatry. I think it's psychology. And she knew like all this type of stuff. She was talking about the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic nerves and all this type of stuff. And she's like, potentially by relaxing and you doing coping mechanisms, we might be able to actually relax some of your nervous system that could actually really help you. And I was like, you know what you're talking about. This is actually pretty great. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting her to go into that depth about that. So that was really cool. She asked, again, all the right questions about health stuff, and she definitely is well versed in some health issues, and that's really great. And she was just talking about coping strategies to deal with that. And yeah, it took me 50 minutes. It took me the whole appointment to get through all of my health history. And she asked a bunch of questions about it while we were going along and stuff, but I think she was even a little surprised about how much there was, because it started when I was 13 and it's new stuff has popped up every year or every couple of years. So she was just like, that's a lot to deal with. And I was like, yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. Like, I'm tired. I am tired. So she gave me a little bit of homework to figure out like what I've been currently using as coping mechanism, what's working, what hasn't been working, and go from there type of situation. So I'm optimistic about that. I think it helped a lot talking to somebody who isn't my husband. I feel so bad for him. He has to hear about this all the time. So anyway, that's the little health thing going on. I don't want to like talk too much about it. You probably won't hear much about it in the next couple of vlogs unless something happens. But other than that, I just kind of wanted to update you guys since it has impacted the channel. Generally, I keep this stuff kind of to myself, but because it impacted the channel, I kind of wanted to give you guys a breakdown in this video. So if you watch this, you kind of are the most updated about everything going on. So probably in the next couple of vlogs, not much will be brought up unless, again, it affects the vlog and stuff. So anyway, let's talk about what I got. Let's talk about the haul. I picked up Battleship. I'm so excited about this. This is so cool. I saw this on Barnes & Noble's website and I was like, I have to have this. And I have a couple of their like board game bookshelf edition kind of things. I love them. It's so cool. Like, it's so cool. And when you open it up, it has, it's got two of the little play things in there, and it's so awesome. I'm so excited about it. So I think my husband and I, all my books just fell behind me. I think my husband and I are probably going to play this at some point today. I love how it's listed under the Father's Day stuff. Well, anyway, the rest of it is books. And let's see, my first trip to Barnes & Noble when I got that was 3 days ago or 2 days ago. And I ended up picking up the new Riley Sager with a Vengeance, which is cool. Had a $5 off sticker. That's really nice. Because hardbacks are really expensive. It's very rare for me to buy, especially a thriller hardback, but this is our July 2025 book club pick. I wish it was June's pick because that's what I want to read. Like, I'm dying to read this. And then I also picked up The Beautiful Maddening by Shea Earnshaw. This is the brand new Shea Earnshaw. She is one of my favorite authors. 2 of her books are 5 stars. I think another one's like a 3.5, but it was her adult release. And then I have one more that I haven't read yet, so fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I just love the way she writes. I love how she tells a story. So I'm very, very excited. And it's so pretty. Her covers are always stunning. Then yesterday after therapy, my therapist's office is literally right next to the Books A Million, which is not great. But I was excited. I was like, okay, let's go do this because the other place did not have a couple of the books that I was looking for. So that's the funny thing about the books here or the bookstores here is if I want a special edition or a popular release, I'm gonna go to Barnes & Noble because number one, it's way too hard to get to our indie bookstores, which is really sad. Going to our indie bookstores is like an event. It's like 50 minutes away in the city. Parking is terrible. I always feel like I'm gonna get hit when I go there, so it just gives me so much anxiety, so I don't go there. If I want to go, normally I'm like, husband, drive me please. And so we'll go together and I'll go, but it's so hard. And they're all right there on that street. Like they're all right there. And it's just so hard to get to any of them. So it's really frustrating. So I basically go to either Barnes & Noble or Books A Million because those are really the only options unless I want to have a very stressful and long day. And I've done it a couple times. When my best friend visited, she drove us because she doesn't have a problem with that. So we did go when she was here. But anyway, if you want, like I said, if you want big releases, special editions, you go to Barnes & Noble. If you want a young adult release, even a new one, you go to the Books A Million. The Books A Million definitely carries more of the obscure books, I would say, unless it's horror. If you want a horror book, go to the Barnes & Noble. I feel like I've learned this system over the past year because I went thinking they would have this one book and they didn't have it. And I was like, that's so weird. And it's a lot of young adult stuff. Like, I feel like the Barnes & Noble just does not carry that much young adult stuff at the one that we have. It was definitely different at my old one back in Charlotte. That one had a ton of young adult books. This one, not so much. So anyway, I definitely picked up Dragon Fruit, which I've been wanting for a really long time. I read Year of the Reaper and I absolutely loved it. This is I think that was an adult release and I think it was a Fairyloot pick, I think. But this one came out last year or early this year. I think it was last year. And I just still hadn't picked it up. And I saw it and I was like, okay, let's get it. Let's get it. And then I picked up, this is the one that I couldn't find at Barnes & Noble, Ladies' Night by Amy Kaufman. This sounds so good. It sounds really cute and I love it. And I feel like this is good to read in June for LGBTQ plus month. I think it would be really fun. So we're hopefully going to read this. And then this is going to go in my influence series. One of them is Pretty Covers. I already have so many for that one. I think Nightweaver, Sword Heart, and Bridge Kingdom are the 3 right now for Pretty Covers. But this one's going to get added in there. I might take off Sword Heart because I had already wanted that one and replace it with Titan of the Stars. I love this cover. I saw this and I was like, I have to have it. I don't know anything about it. I don't know if it has good ratings. It could have like a 2. It could have a 2 and I have no idea. I just had to have it. Like I took one look at it and I was like, I need it. I need it. I don't know what it's about. It says it's Alien meets the Titanic. Okay. And the first book of a new young adult sci-fi horror series. Okay, I love aliens, so good for that. But yeah, I couldn't pass it up. So this is going to be in one of my influence series, and I'm very excited to read that one. So that's what I've gotten from the bookstores, which I rampaged a little bit more than I normally would because I haven't been in 3 weeks, and I was dying to buy some books because I'm actually in the mood to read, which is so exciting. Okay, now that we've done the little book haul, let's actually move on to the recap. This video is so long. I think it's going to be like close to 2 hours long. I think my raw footage right now without this and without an intro, I didn't do an intro, is 1 hour and 40 minutes. And this is already like 20 minutes long probably. So it's gonna be a long video. So hopefully you guys are excited about that because yeah, a lot has happened in this video. But anyway, like I said, I finally finished reading The Raven Scholar. There we go, I moved it down more. I feel like every time I sit down, I sink lower or this thing grows. So every time I have to keep adjusting it. Anyway, like I said, I finished The Raven Scholar. I think I'm going to give it, oh man, it's gonna be controversial. I think I'm gonna give it a 3.5. And it's got like a 4.5 right now on Goodreads. But I don't know. This just isn't the type of fantasy book that I absolutely love. Like, I almost feel like nothing happened. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain this book. My knee-jerk reaction, 3.5 stars. I am happy with that rating. I don't know how to talk about this. It did like a bait and switch situation, but that is the only really true interesting thing that happened in this book. But it wasn't boring. I don't like it is a very weird book. Like, if you've read this book, definitely let me know what you thought about it. I definitely feel like I'm in the minority here, where I feel like nothing happened, but everyone else is gonna feel like this was like a really epic fantasy book, I guess. I definitely was missing, for me, I was missing an aspect of romance. I really didn't like the relationship that Nima has with that other character. Like, I felt it, but I didn't necessarily care about it. And I think it's because I didn't love his character. And I feel like that's gonna be a deciding factor for a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people are gonna love Cain. And that's not a spoiler or anything. That is immediately tells you their relationship. I feel like a lot of people are gonna love Cain, and I just did not like him like other people did. Okay. So I didn't love Cain. There were way too many characters. The level of characters that you were trying to follow in this book were just, it was just too much. There was too many characters. I like that it stuck to Nima's point of view only, but there was just so many characters. I did love the crow aspect that was in here. I think it added some flavor to the book. I also think that the audiobook kind of saved the book for me. I don't know if I would have loved this if I physically read it, because it was just, again, not that much was happening. Like, I feel like not that much was going on, and I'm just so meh about it. But the audiobook added a lot of like texture to the book, and it added a lot of life to the characters, and it was able to help distinguish between the characters a lot better than I feel like I would have if I was just reading it. It added a lot of humor, which I really appreciated as well. So other than that, I just really don't know how to talk about this book. Like, I feel like I am not normally a person at a loss for words when describing a book and talking about a book, but I am with this one. I think it was good. I don't think it necessarily was the right type of fantasy book for me. So I think definitely it was too long, personally, for me. And what was in this book, I would have preferred having a different romance. I think I would have enjoyed that a little bit more if I had some sort of romantic stake in this, but I generally do like romance in my fantasy books. Like, that's the thing about this book, is this is just fantasy. This is straight up just only fantasy, which I think is great. I think we are in an era of romantasy being what is popular right now, so it's really cool just seeing a straight up fantasy book. But for me, I do like a little bit of that romance thrown in there. It didn't have to be a ton. It just needed to be like the openings potentially of a romance, because I think this is a trilogy. Like, I think this is gonna be 3 books. So I think it would have been cool to see the beginnings of something instead of being already in this kind of toxic romance that already exists, that to me just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, I don't know, like, they just didn't work for me. I don't know what it was. So I would have loved to see a little bit of romance, but I can see, like, if you loved it, I can see why you wouldn't want that potentially in the book, because it could take over the plot and become more romantasy type thing, and that was not the point of this book. I think the trials were fine. I feel like it was touted as this big trial book, and there definitely were trials in here, but I don't think they were necessarily that important. They were such a small portion of the book that was a little bit disappointing. I feel like people who are going into this thinking it's a trial book may be a little bit disappointed. And then again, I talked about it already, but the amount of characters, there was too many characters. Like, there really was. You could probably cut out about half the cast and still be okay. There was that many characters, or at least put like I needed a legend, or no, I needed a glossary. I needed a glossary of characters and what group they belong to and stuff, because that was really hard to follow along with, especially at the beginning. I got better at the end, but still at the end I was like, who is this character? Like, even in the last chapter I was like, wait a minute, who is this? And then when there was a reveal and it was like, oh my god, this person, I was like, who are they again? Who are they? I had to go back to like the first chapter to remember who they were. So it's kind of that type of situation with how many characters there were. And again, I just don't feel like that much happened in this book. I don't know what it was. I feel like this set up a really good second book. I think this is also one of those weird books where I feel like the stakes are so low. Like they feel like they're high, but they're actually incredibly low to the point where you, like when something happens, you're just kind of like, eh. Like there was no big moment that you're like, oh my gosh, whoa, whoa. Like there was no moment like that in this. And I kind of was expecting that from a fantasy book that is like, I mean, it's touted as like an epic fantasy book. So I don't know. I'm so torn about this. And maybe it's because I haven't read that much epic fantasy that my expectations were just not set properly for this book. But I just wanted so much more to happen in this book. So there's a lot that I loved. I loved a lot of our characters. But there was a lot that I just felt, I didn't dislike anything. I didn't dislike anything except for the romance a little bit. But I just felt so mediocre about it. And I feel like that is the best way to describe this book, is it just felt fine. I do think the writing is phenomenal. The writing is amazing. It is so good. I was very impressed with that. I was impressed with the storytelling in general, about how the story flowed, and the world building is really, really cool. Sometimes I did get lost a couple of times because of the world building, did jump around a little bit, but overall, this is a phenomenally written book. It just it wasn't necessarily what I was looking for in a fantasy book. It was an entertaining time. It was good. I would recommend the audiobook. And that brings us to the end of reading all of our April 2025 book box books. And you know what? I think this went pretty well. Like, I feel like this is the best one of these videos has gone so far. Like, yeah, we did DNF one, but I was kind of expecting it because the author. But otherwise, I think we did really well. Like, I'm really impressed. That's the stack. That's the order. We had the DNF, the 3.5, a 4, and another 4, which, again, I do believe is the highest rankings that we've had. That is the stack. Those are the April books. We are already in June, and this is coming out in June, and it was supposed to come out in May. So annoyed. And I immediately have to jump into reading my books for that came in May. So a little sneak peek, we're probably not reading Night in the Moth because that does look like it's going to be our August 2025 book club pick, but we are reading Salvation, The Floating World, Any Trope But You, Overgrowth, and A Song of Legends Lost. And on that note, we're going to be ending this video. So let's see. The Raven Scholar, if you guys made it to the end of this video and you don't have anything else to comment about, or you just want to let me know that you were here, let's do, is there a raven emoji? Any bird emoji. It could be even the vulture. I think there's like a vulture, isn't there? If there's a raven or crow or any type of bird emoji or any type of animal, any of the animals. So if there's a tiger, a bear, an ox, I feel like there's probably not an ox, a raven or any type of bird, a dragon. I know there's a dragon. What else is there? Monkey and fox, I think. So any of those, you can leave any animal emoji and I'll know that you guys were here. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely make sure to let me know down below if you want to leave any actual comment, if you've read any of these, if you enjoyed any of them, if you DNF'd them, if you read them and you didn't enjoy them. Definitely just let me know what you thought about them, what you're most excited to get to. Definitely leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Definitely subscribe so you miss any future content. Like I said, we're moving right on into next month's or May's books. Hopefully that'll come out late June, early July. I don't have hopes that it'll come out in June because it's 5 books and that is a lot of books. And like I said, I am trying to read all of these. I'm trying not to DNF. DNFing is not the point of this. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I'll see you guys in the next one.